Welcome to the Michael Singer podcast, presented by Sounds True, in partnership with Shanti Publications. For more information about Michael Singer's work, access to all prior episodes, and information about upcoming releases, we invite you to join us at michaelsingerpodcast.com.
Jai Gurudev, Jai Masters. Someday, when you get clear enough, and quiet enough, and open enough, you'll realize that creation has a purpose. It's not the kind of purpose that your mind gives it. It's sort of like if you're madly in love with somebody, and you haven't seen them for a while, and you see them. You don't have to think about hugging them. You don't have to think about what you want to do. There's just this expression of love, connection that takes place all by itself. An artist, a great artist, doesn't think about art. They express what's inside of them onto canvas, into clay, into marble. It's an expression of expression. Well, somebody once asked Meher Baba, why did creation get created? Why did God create creation? And he said something very funny, but it's not funny. He said, on a whim. Well, that's why you hug somebody. That's why you paint. That's why a true artist just expresses what's inside of themselves. That's true art. Great masterpieces last very, very long, whether they be music or paintings. And everyone sees them as masterpieces, not because some art teacher taught them, oh, Monet did this. They just move your soul. They touch you at a very deep place because they came from that place. A masterpiece, a great masterpiece, comes from the depth of the artist's soul, and it just expresses itself. We talk about Beethoven. He was deaf. He went deaf the latter part of his life. But he had to hear the music that was going on inside of him. He didn't write music. He wrote down what he was hearing in his soul, in the depth of his being. And if he didn't get to express it, it was painful. So he just expressed. I told you, toward the end of his life, he cut off the legs on his piano so it would sit on the wood floor and he could just feel in the vibrations of the music instead of being able to hear it through his ears. That's the passion of expression. Well, that's what's meant by on a whim. There was no reason. It's not logical, not to prove anything. Just to express. So someday you will catch on that all of creation is the expression of the divine force. All of it. All of it. I love the fact that even the Christians say that Lucifer was a fallen angel. What's that all about? It all comes from the same place. All of it comes from the same place. Always did, always will, period. That's why I'm not going to do it today, because I do it all the time. That the quantum physicists have gone so far down into what is it made of? Yes, there's all these things we interact with every day. What are they? What are they made of? And they went past the molecules, they went past the atoms, they went past the neutrons and protons and electrons, and they went down into a field of something that is expressing itself, that is, they say it gets agitated, the field gets agitated, and there's little wavelets. And those wavelets in that field are what you see manifest as, they call them quarks, leptons, and bosons, and as particles. But they say they appear as particles, but they're not. They just have properties that we then see as magnetism, et cetera, and it puts itself together, this whole world. So it's so close to God. I don't know why. I can't not talk about it. They only miss one step, and they may never make that step. That yogis made thousands of years ago in the ancient writings and teachings of the great masters. What is that field is consciousness. They don't know what it is. If you ask a quantum physicist, what is the quantum field? They know how its behavior that comes out of it creates creation, and all of creation, every bit of it, all over the universe, every star, every galaxy is made the same way. But they don't know what the field is. That's not their job. They can define what's happening and how it happens. Well, the yogis went so deep inside themselves. They meditated so deeply inside. Who was the first one that figured this out? Oh my God. And they found out that if they got quiet enough and they stopped getting all attached to their thoughts and their emotions and what's coming through their senses, that they went back to a seat of consciousness inside, the core of consciousness. And then they go even further, and bam, who was the first that happened to? Oh my God. They realized that consciousness has a source, and that source has always been and will always be. They once asked Meher Baba, who's fully enlightened, the highest high avatar, they asked him, who are you? And he said, I was in the beginning, before all else was created. I will be in the end, after all else falls away. Never was there a time I was not. Never will there be a time that I am not. In other words, there's an essence. That's all. Has no beginning, has no end. It's not any place that it's not. It just is what is. When Moses asked the burning bush, who should I tell the Pharaoh you are? What's your name? He said, I am that I am. That's it. I am what is. I just am. Have always been, will always be. It's not even eternity. Eternity means there's time, and that's time without end. There is no time. It's not hard for the mind to get close to it. If you do not have 2 points, what does distance mean? What are feet or yards or anything? They're a measurement between 2 points. What if there are no 2 points? Well, then there's no distance. That's what infinity is. It's not there's distance that goes on forever. There is no distance. You can't measure it. Why? Because there's no points to measure it from. What is time? The amount of waiting between 2 points. What did it take to go between 2 points? If there are no 2 points, there is no time. That's part of Einstein's relativity. It's all relative to the points you pick. So if there's just infinity, if there's just emptiness, there's the Buddhists. If there's just void, there is no time, there's no space, there is no distance, because you can't measure anything. Okay? That's what's meant by these deep states. That's God. That which always was, always is, non-dual. There's no beginning, there's no end, because beginning and end are points. There's no beginning, no end. Just is. I am that I am. Okay? That is who you are. That is what they found when they went deep enough in, and they weren't using their consciousness to look at their thoughts. Something is aware of your thoughts. If you were not aware of your thoughts, you wouldn't know you had them. You're conscious. You're an aware being way back here. And you're looking down at these thoughts, down at these emotions, down at this body, out through the senses. It is the same consciousness that watches every single thought you have. Dirty thoughts, nice thoughts, X-rated, R-rated, PG-rated, every single thought you ever had throughout your entire life. The same consciousness saw that thought. Did you have thoughts yesterday? Did you have thoughts yesterday? How do you know? Because I was in here. I'm here. I see them. Did you have thoughts last year? How do you know? I've been in here. How long have you been in there? Okay? And so it's the same consciousness that watches every single thought. Yes, some thoughts are pleasant. Some thoughts are not pleasant. It doesn't matter. It's the same consciousness that's experiencing the pleasant and the non-pleasant. Sometimes you feel good. Sometimes you feel bad. Who feels that? It's the same consciousness that's back there. I'm pointing behind my head, okay? It's the same consciousness that's back there witnessing, experiencing the thoughts and the emotions. Definitely you have nice emotions, pleasant emotions. You have very, very not nice emotions, very caustic, unwelcome emotions, don't you? How do you know? Told you. You don't want to come to me for therapy. They write me as if they want to. I tell them they don't want to. Why? You come to me and tell me, oh my God, since my boyfriend or girlfriend left, my heart, it feels like razor blades. It's hurting so badly. I can't even live in here. You'll tell you a little drama for a little while, like 20 or 30 seconds. And then I will ask you, how do you know? How do you know your heart hurts? Has your heart ever hurt? Has your heart ever hurt? I don't know that your heart hurts. How do you know your heart hurts? How do you know your heart hurts? Well, I'm in here. What does that mean? Were you in there when your heart didn't hurt? Sure, that's why I know it hurts. It feels very different. Has your heart ever felt filled with love? just bubbling over with inspiration and joy? How do you know? Is it the same you who knows your heart hurts as the you who knows your heart feels wonderful? That is the essence of spirituality. That's what it's all about. You are the consciousness. The essence of your being is your consciousness. The rest is what you're conscious of. They're objects of consciousness. There's consciousness and objects of consciousness. There's one consciousness inside of you. It's always been there. It's conscious. How many objects of consciousness are there in your mind, in your emotions, and outside in the outside world? 700 billion, quillion, zillion, trillion. Every single day, your consciousness experiences thoughts, emotions, the world, your body, every single thing. It's the same consciousness, isn't it? What about your dreams? Anybody ever have dreams? How do you know? I love it. You're so spiritual, but you don't pay attention. You wake up in the morning, you turn over and say, oh my God, watch. I'm saying that, I had this amazing dream. I was flying and I flew to the moon and there were moon people there and I got married. I had a moon baby. And then I woke up. Notice you used the word I every single time in that sentence. Your sense of being had those experiences. Whether you're seeing them in your dream or experiencing them in the outside world, it's the same to you. Sometimes you can't distinguish. You think back to your past. I don't remember whether I dreamt that or whether I experienced that. But it's the same I as experiencing your dreams, the same consciousness as experiencing your dreams. You have a nice dream, you know you had a nice dream. Like, go tell a therapist, oh, I had this amazing dream. Yeah, again, you don't want me as a therapist. Why? I'll say, how do you know? Before you finish your dream. How do you know? How do I know what? How do you know you had that dream? Because I was there. No, you were sleeping. No, my body was sleeping. I was there. I was there having the dream. I was in the dream, wasn't I? Sometimes you have lucid dreams where you know that you're dreaming and you can affect the dream willfully. Who is in there doing this? The same one who's doing willful acts out here. There's just one of you. When they use the word soul, soul means the essence of your being, the core. That's what your consciousness is. It's the core of your being. It's the essence of your being. If all the objects of consciousness went away, you would know there was nothing there. If your thoughts, here, go deep in meditation. Some of you have. Go deep in meditation and come back. Oh my God, I went so deep there were no thoughts. I went so deep there were no thoughts. How do you know? How do you know there were no thoughts? I hope it wasn't the thoughts saying, oh, there's no thoughts. Because you can go that deep, can't you? Because you are the conscious being that is experiencing the thoughts or the no thoughts. And you know you're experiencing no thoughts. I'll give you another one. Ready? Oh my God, I slept so deep. I had no dreams. I just slept so deep. How do you know? Because you were still there. Patanjali in the Yoga Sutras says, meditation is not concentration, all right? He talks about the following. I don't want to get into it. I don't teach this stuff, right? But it's pratyahara. What does that mean? The ability to withdraw from your senses. If you can't withdraw through your senses, you ain't meditating. You're out here listening. You may be sitting there, but you're listening, hearing, thinking, all right? So the ability to withdraw from your senses is the first sense, right? Then dharana, the ability to concentrate so totally, one pointed concentration. So now you just didn't withdraw from your senses, you withdraw from the distractions of your mind. Is your mind still talking when you're so one-pointed that you don't hear it? Who cares? Does a tree make noise when it falls in the forest? Like basically you concentrate your consciousness so totally on one point that whether anything else is going on or not, you don't know. It doesn't matter. It's not distracting you. That's a key word in meditation and yoga, distraction. So now, pratyahara, you're not distracted from the outside world. You're not distracted by what's coming from your senses. Dharana, you're not distracted by what's going on inside of you, by your emotions or your thoughts, because your consciousness is one-pointed. Is that meditation? He says no. Total one-pointed concentration. You went beyond your thoughts, no emotions, no senses. Bam, just total one-pointed concentration is dharana. Meditation is dhyan. What is that? When that one-pointed concentration is concentrating on consciousness itself. In other words, okay, I'm conscious and I'm focusing on that. Great. Who is doing that? Who's focusing? What are you focusing? Consciousness. Go back to the source of consciousness. Don't go out to focus on any object or no object. Just stay seated in the source of consciousness. That's meditation. That's dhyan. From there, there's no duality. Now you're getting into the Buddhist teachings. You're not focusing on anything. There's not even a point of consciousness. There's just being. Just being. You're just being. Well, that being has no beginning or end. If you ever touch that spot, for once in your life, you will know you're eternal. Not you will believe you're eternal. You will know you're eternal because you touch the place where there is no beginning or end. There is no points for distance or space or time. You're just there. You're not thinking I'm just there. You're just there. You're experiencing just being there. So basically, that state, the great masters went back to in the beginning. Not the beginning of creation, but the beginning of yoga or the beginning of real yoga. They went back to that space. And they realized they were just there. And they realized there's no end or beginning to that. They merged. They merged with the oneness. Buddha called it nirvana. Christ said, my Father and I are one. And he said, so are you, by the way. As I sit by the throne of my Father, that's a state of consciousness. As I sit by the throne of my Father, so you shall sit by my throne. And these things which I do should do these and even greater things. What's he telling you? You in there are the same as me. We're all the same. It's all one. So we're talking about creation. Someday, maybe they'll find out that that's what the quantum field is. Consciousness. What consciousness? Yours. Yogananda said when he went into the first time, his state of cosmic consciousness, he felt his body was the galaxies, that he was expanding at the speed of light in all directions, and that all of form was inside of him. He merged. You merge. You're capable of that. We're talking about the meaning of life. God created, I don't mean to say I know anything, all right? Shouldn't speak for God. I'm not speaking for God. God created the heavens and earth to express himself, to express herself, period. Well, why is there evil? That's part of everything. Why is there light? It's part of everything. Why is there darkness? Part of everything. Why is there male? It's part of everything. Why is there female? It's part of everything. Why is there young? It's part of everything. Why is there all, right? Everything's part of everything, isn't it? Everything's part of everything. Therefore, if that which is all and always was expresses itself, it's going to be everything. So now we know that this is the artwork of God. All of it, everything. Do people, can you go into museums where the artwork is really dark? Do you know somebody very depressed painted this stuff and they sell for millions of dollars? What's called Scream? Was that famous painting? Right? You can't buy that thing for millions and millions and millions of dollars. You understand that? All of it is art. All of it. A rainy day is art. A sunny day is art. A hurricane's art. A tornado's art. It's all expression. It's unbelievable. There are people who really get off on chasing tornadoes. God is everything. Everything is God. It is the expression of the divine force that is infinite. It doesn't have morality. What is morality? Something you made up in your mind. Oh, Mickey said we should be immoral. He did not. Do different cultures have different morality? Do different religions have different beliefs? Who's right? Nobody. It's not of the mind. It's not of the human. The human's something that part of what got created. How much of you figure out how much of it is. I tell you all the time, 1.3 million Earths fit inside the sun. How much of the Earth do you take up? Well, 1.3 million Earths fit inside the sun. That makes you pretty small, doesn't it? There are 300 billion stars in your galaxy. And 1.3 million Earths fit inside one of those stars. You're the center of the universe, aren't you? You're the meaning of everything. You're nothing. You're so far beyond nothing. You are what we call statistically insignificant. I'm not trying to put you down. I'm trying to pick you up. You put yourself down by saying, I'm this little thing and I'm scared and people might not like me and I want to be pretty or handsome and I don't want to get old and I want to die. I don't want to die. Look what you did. There's nothing, a little thing on this tiny little planet. I didn't finish. There's 300 billion stars, of which your sun is one in this galaxy. There are an estimated 2 trillion galaxies, all with hundreds of billions of stars. You want to be important? I'm president. Of what? I'm mayor of the city. What city? What? Wake up. You understand that? Anybody listening? You want to listen? This is not how you make yourself little. It's how you make yourself enormous. Stop making yourself little. Your consciousness, which happens to be capable, no, forget it, is of God, period. My Father and I are one. Your consciousness, not your eyeballs or your hand or your pretty little face. No, your consciousness. The source of your consciousness is the universal consciousness. There is no difference between your consciousness, just like go anywhere in the ocean and pick up a teaspoon. What do you have in a teaspoon? The ocean. All consciousness is the same consciousness. Well, I don't understand. Of course you don't. Because your ray of universal consciousness is staring at your thoughts, your emotions, your body, and what's coming in through your senses. You don't do hers, you don't do his, yours. Wow. That's like the sun has rays. Are they different from the sun? No. It emanates rays, doesn't it? One of those rays, a ray of sunlight, comes down and touches the earth. The trouble is, it's conscious. So it says, that's what I am, the spot I touched. No, you're not. You're the whole sun. You're no different than any other ray. It all comes from the same place. But that ray is caught of looking outside itself at the spot it touched. I'm her. That's who I am. I'm Sally Jones. And this is what happened to me. I grew up in this household and my parents got divorced and I didn't like my stepfather and everything. And then I went there and I went to this college and I went to that place and then I got thrown out. That's who you are? No, that is what your consciousness has experienced. You would still be in there being conscious if the experiences were different. The experiences do not define who you are. They define what you've experienced. Your experiences are nothing. They are meaningless. Seriously, your experiences are nothing. What if you'd look to the left? You have a different experience. What if anything different had happened? You would still be there. That's not who you are. You're not your experiences. Those are just things you've had. Wouldn't you be the same person if your parents didn't get divorced? You'd have different thoughts. No question. Psychology says man is the sum of learned experiences. Notice that, right? Man is the sum of his learned experiences. Of course not. I'm the experiencer of the mind I built out of the sum of learned experiences, out of the emotions I built out of the sum of learned experiences. Is that not what your emotions and mind are? You don't go to church. Why? Your parents took you to church. They made you go to church. I have nothing to do with that stuff. Is that who you are? The person that doesn't want to go to church? No. You love going to church. Your parents told you not to go to church. Just to rebel, you went to church. All right? I'm the person who went to church even though my parents said not to. What are you doing? That's not who you are. You're the one who experienced those things. You are the ray from the sun, the one ray. All these rays are all the same, but they do fall in different places, don't they? All right? You are one spot of the divine consciousness staring and lost in your thoughts, your emotions, your body, and what comes in through your senses. And when I say that's nothing, why? People say to me, I don't want to miss anything. I want to experience it. I don't want to miss anything. How much are you missing right now that's going on everywhere? There's no number anybody ever created that's that big. You can't even use scientific notation. It doesn't handle it. You are missing every single thing all the time except one dot in the middle of nowheres. And if that makes you feel small, you have an ego problem. Why? It should make you feel enormous. Why am I limiting myself to this dot? This little spot. And I care so much about this person's thoughts and this person's emotions. So the one ray of consciousness, which is like a sun, how can the ray be the same as the sun? It is, isn't it? How can a drop of the ocean be the ocean? It is. It's all the same. So the sun and its rays, they just emanate. Your consciousness radiates out from its center. I told you, I say this stuff and I want to know you get it. I am sitting in this seat right here, but I'm looking at that picture over there. Do I have to get up to go see it? Consciousness emanates, just like the sun does not have to leave the sky to light the earth, does it? It radiates. Your consciousness is capable of expanding, of radiating out. Look at all the stuff you're seeing. You're still in here. Just because you look out here doesn't mean you're not in there. Of Close your eyes. It's all gone. Open them up. They're there. You're still in the same place. You're seated in here, in the seat of witness consciousness, the seat of objective observation, Krishna already called it. You are in here looking out. So basically, the sun is up there radiating out, but it doesn't make it not the sun. So your consciousness, even though it's looking out, is still the same consciousness, but it gets lost. By the way, that is the fall from the garden. If you are God, and you are, and that's not blasphemy. You're not you, your body. I'm God. No symbols. Make no symbols of me, right? Images. You in there who's looking out are seated in the divine consciousness, but you are looking out at that picture, and you never take your consciousness off of it. You one-pointedly focus so much on that picture that nothing else exists in your universe. Can I do that? Can I stare so much at something that I don't see anything else? That is what you're doing to yourself. That's what you're doing with your thoughts. That's what you're doing with your emotions. That's what you're doing with your body. That's what you're doing with the world that comes in through you. That's who I am. No, it is not who you are. That is what you're experiencing. You are this seat of consciousness looking out. That's the fall from the garden. You left God. The Old Testament is phenomenal because the stories are real, but they're told in metaphors. So one of my favorite metaphors, what we're talking about right now, is after the fall from the garden, God, the creator of all things, everything, the sun, do it that way. The sun, not the sun meaning S-O-N, S-U-N, right? The sun sees its rays falling everywhere. Then there's a ray down there who's saying, I'm the blade of grass. I'm not handsome enough. He's bigger than me. Why is that blade bigger than me? Oh my God, I'm turning brown. Why am I turning brown? It's winter. Okay, now I'm green. Like, and the sun says, hello? hello, come back. Well, you're not. They're not. You're me. Didn't stop being me. Okay? That is that story in the Bible when God's walking through the garden. Adam, where are you? I'm hiding. How do you hide from God? There, right there. There's the fall. I'm identified with a blade of grass. I'm not the whole anymore. To which God says, well, Adam stands up, and God says, so, there you are. What in the world is around your waist? He says, a fig leaf. I put fig leaves on trees. What the heck is it doing around your waist? This is one of the most powerful yogic statements that ever got made. I was naked. Every animal's naked. Every tree is naked. Every single thing is, quote, naked. It is as it is. What do you mean you're naked? That you have to cover your nakedness. You identified something outside yourself. You identify with the body to where now you're saying, this is me. And it's not supposed to look like this. So there, that's the fall from the garden. Your consciousness fell from the seat of universal consciousness, of oneness with God. I can be in the chair and look at the picture. I don't have to deny looking at it, but I know I'm still in the chair. I didn't get fixated on it. I didn't get addicted to it. I didn't identify, the key word, I didn't identify with it as me. All right? How can you look at something and say, that's my car? How do you know I identify with my car? No, you just said it's out there. You're in here. How do you identify with a car? If you're in here looking out, how do you identify with what you're looking at? Because I'm lost. I got lost. I fell from the garden. And I identify with what I'm looking at instead of identify with who's looking. You're always the one who's looking. I told you, stand in front of a mirror after a shower and see what you see there. And then blink your eyes and it changes gender. Your mind would freak out. You don't know what's going on. Guess what? The same consciousness is looking at that image in the mirror as it was a moment ago. Otherwise, you wouldn't even know what it was. Nothing, right? And have it changed back. Tell them what an experience I had, right? Who? Me in here. Every experience I'm having is in here. But I'm identified with what I'm looking at. And that's the fall from the garden. You identify, that's Adam saying, I was naked. I identified with what is outside of me, and I started behaving as that. I was naked, so I put a fig leaf on, and I'm scared, so I'm hiding, right? All that. That's what you're doing every single second, every moment of your life. You're busy being what you're not. What does psychology call your ego? Your self-concept. So these words are so deep. What is a self-concept? Something you made up about yourself. A concept is not real, is it? Is a concept reality? No, it's a concept of reality. It's a thought about reality. That's what your ego is. That's what you're walking around saying, I'm this and I like this, and I don't like that, and I don't know if I want to stay married or not. Who is that? Who is that? That is what you built out of your mind. You took these thoughts. God, it's so simple, but it's so hard for people to get. You had experiences. Fine, good. You have experiences. There's experiences going all over the universe every single moment. you had one. You understand that? Big deal. That's why I say to you, how important are your experiences? Ask anybody else how important your experiences are. No, couldn't care less. I need to tell you about my experiences. Okay, that's ego. So basically, there are all these experiences. You had some experiences, and you held them inside your mind. Some of them. You didn't hold all the experiences. I tell you all the time, you didn't hold all the white lines. You didn't hold all the clouds that went by. You didn't hold all the people you don't know that walk by. Not all the cars you couldn't care less about on the LA Expressway. They're not in there. So you can bring them back. You have memory. You can bring back memories, like computer memory, but they're not part of your definition of your being. You only define yourself by the ones that caught your attention. They either bothered you or turned you on. Okay, I guarantee you they're still in there. Oh, I remember my wedding. It was so beautiful. I was all dressed in white and things, and there was flowers and birds. I had all birds flying up. When was that? Well, it was about 30 years ago. What about now? Oh, we got divorced. And I remember that one too. That was really tough, I'll tell you. You get the wedding, you get the divorce, you get the kid, you get the job, you get the getting fired. Start collecting a nice collection of the experiences you couldn't handle. You couldn't handle those experiences. How do I know? Because you kept them and held on to them. You couldn't let go of the wedding because it was so special. Why is not every moment that special? If you wake up and realize it's all coming from nothing, that's what I kept telling you. The quantum physicists have gotten it down to. It's basically nothing. They can make everything you're seeing right now. They can explain and make every single thing you're seeing out of wavelets in a field that they know nothing about. Just little wavelets. Like you drop a leaf in a still lake. It makes little wavelets. And they understand that wavelet has spin and color, and it has properties such as magnetism. Just the wavelet has properties. That's all form is. It's a wavelet with properties. Now give me that. Give me a bunch of quarks, a bunch of leptons, a bunch of bosons. I'll take 2 up quarks and a down quark and make a proton. 2 down quarks and an up quark, make a neutron. Take an electron. They will pull themselves together because of the properties of magnetism and so on, and I'll make an atom. And then I'll put a bunch of atoms together, and I'll make molecules. Put molecules together. I'll make your body, your nose, your face, your eyes, your balls. I make every single thing that exists out of nothing. They can do it right now. The one next step is, what is that field, that vibrator that it's coming out of? And the yogis went there by going deep enough inside. They went to that field, and they know consciousness is that field. It all emanates out of consciousness. And that's what you mean by God. What? An omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient force that is everywhere in the entire universe, that all form came out of. It's omnipotent. Everything that is came out of it, and it's conscious. That's what they call God, don't they? That's what God is. And it is there, and they're so close. Look how close they are. To sit there and say, there's nothing in this room but those little wavelets, all right? And yet it's this, and you're attached to it. Your consciousness looked at it and got lost. That little ray, I'm trying hard for you to get it. That ray from the sun hit a leaf or hit a piece of pavement or hit a blade of grass and said, that's what I am. No, it is not who you are. You're illumining it because you're illumination, but you're the sun. Each ray is the sun itself, isn't it? Point to the sun. It sits out there in space and emanates its whole being. What we talk about, where are the edges of our solar system? What are they measuring that as? Where the force of the sun, its emanations, its radiation, its magnetism, ceases to affect what's outside of it. And that's way out there. That's way past Pluto, way past everything. And that's your solar influence. Okay, well, the true influence of the Son of God has no edge, no beginning, no end. Okay, love that. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy mind. Why? Because, oh my God, that's what you are. You are that. And it is, everything is that. It's not difficult. The difficulty is that your consciousness is staring at the collection of thoughts that you built in your mind. And you're saying, that's who I am. That's what your ego is. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. How do you know you like something? If I ask you, what do you like? You'll tell me something. How do you know? Because you've experienced it before, or you watched a movie about it, or you read a book about it. You didn't just make it up. So your past experiences got collected in your mind, and same thing with your emotions, and then you built an I. How do you build an I? You identify with that collection, saying, this is what I am. I'm the person who likes this, I'm the person who doesn't like this, I'm the person who went through this. No, you're the one who's noticing that. You're the one who's lost. You are more addicted to staring at you than any drug addict could ever be needing their drugs. In fact, the reason they do drugs because they can't handle what it's like staring at themselves. Somebody in ecstasy who's fully in nirvana is not doing drugs, psychedelics, and this and the other thing, right? No, they ain't doing that. Why? There's no reason to. They're in ecstasy. You're filled with joy. Why do you need to do the other? Because I'm not. Because I'm lost in the garbage that I stored inside myself. So basically, spirituality is the understanding that the problem is not what's happening in the world. It's not. The world doesn't even exist. It doesn't exist. I'm sorry. Now, I know you want to say, you mean I shouldn't be an activist? I shouldn't help people? No, I'm not saying that. Once you get back to you, you're going to find out that's why God created the heavens and earth. To dance with himself, to express himself, to love himself, to serve himself. You understand that? Why do you play video games? For the joy of the experience, even though they're not real. So it's not that if I sit there and say to you, you're not out there doing things because you need to, because you want to. I'm trying to find a relationship because I'm lonely. Well, I'm sorry, that you're not lonely, you're one. And any relationship you have is with God because it's the only thing there is. It's all the same. Oh, no, but I can't because he's not the way I want to be, and I wanted him to be like this. I thought he would be like this, and I thought she would treat me nicer. What? You watch Disney World or something, Snow White, and decided there should be this knight in shining armor coming to pick you up? And you get these concepts in your head, and that's why all your relationships are extremely difficult, because you expect the other person to be the way you want them to be. How about I ask you that question? How many of you expect your very close special relationship that person should be the way you want them to be? Don't you dare raise your hand. We say, well, why else would I marry them? I thought they'd be the way I want them. There's 8.3 billion people on planet Earth. I picked you. Get with the program. And why would I have picked you? So you bother me? No. I picked you to take care of me and be the way I want you to be and never, ever do anything I don't want you to do. And don't even think what I don't want you to think. And don't you dare feel, oh, who are you looking at? Don't you dare feel what I don't want you to feel. Gee, I wonder why relationships are so difficult. And I told you, everybody has had different experiences. Everybody, throughout their entire life. Therefore, the collection of their ego, what they built inside their head that they're staring at and lost in, is different than yours. They are not the same as you. They're not the same as you. No one's the same as you. No one will ever be the same as you because no one has had the experience you've had and no one ever will. Isn't that amazing? So what's happening? We got lost. We fell from the garden. And what does it say? I love that part of the Bible. When you fell from the garden, now what? Now you must work by the sweat of your brow to be okay. Ever heard that one? You find yourself working by the sweat of your brow to be okay? Worrying, anxiety, tension, fear, trying to get everything the way you want it to be. Why? Because you fell down into this mindset of your ego and you're staring at it, and it's only okay if it gets what it wants. Let's get this straight. If you collect all the experiences that you liked in your life, you want them to happen again. If you collect all the experiences you didn't like in your life, you don't want them to happen again. You're staring at the collection of your past experiences. You're staring at the experiences that turned you on. You're staring at the experience that turned you off. That's your ego. Now you go out there and make sure that nobody and nothing, not the weather, nothing happens except that it be the way you want. Is that what you're doing every day? Working hard to get what you want, to have people see you a certain way, to get accepted, to get respect, to get money, to look good, to whatever, every single thing. You're out there trying to make it be that way. Make what be that way? The little wavelets in the quantum field. Man, it's unbelievable, isn't it? So you do this thing called wake up. You wake up. It's not going to happen all at once. You start working on yourself. Working on yourself to do what? Not working on yourself to get what you want. I'm sorry. They teach you that. I love it. I love everything they teach. I love everything it is. Go ahead and use all your time to develop powers so you can attract to yourself what you want. In other words, stay caught. That's your life? No. How about we wake up? What is behind you is so much greater than what's in front of you. It's not even close. Do you understand that? It's not even close. The whole universe is inside of you. You're the greatest thing that ever walked the face of the earth. What's inside of you, not inside of you, you who's in there. You who notices the thoughts, you who notices the emotions, you who notices what you want and what you don't want, right? Is a very, very great being. You're everything. But you're staring at this tiny little thing with these tiny little experiences. Now, you don't understand. You understand, when I was little, I got rejected in school, and it really hurt me terribly. Now my whole life is based on that. I don't want to talk to people. What are you doing? Staring at this thought that you held on to for 23 years. Why are you doing that? There's so many other experiences going on all over the place. Why are you clinging to that? I don't understand. I don't understand. You don't need to do that. Just let it go. Who's holding on to that thought? You. Well, there's nothing in there but you. Only you're in there. Then if it's a mess in there, who did it? If your house is a mess, no one lives in it. Who made the mess? You did. How? I want to know. Okay, I want to know. How did I make a mess? Every single thing that ever bothered you in your entire life, you kept inside of you. From your childhood, that's everything. Mommy, dad, every single thing. You held on to it. Everything that ever bothered you. Well, if you make a collection inside of you of every single thing that ever disturbed you, what's it going to be like inside? Disturbed. Why would you do such a thing? If you didn't like it, for God's sake, don't keep it. Did you not do that? Did you not store inside of you every single thing that ever bothered you? Now, what kind of thing is that to do? Let it go. You want a spiritual path? Here's your spiritual path. Don't do that. You want to be happy? Stop storing inside of you every single thing that made you unhappy. Is it okay we talk like this? You sure? You sure? I care about you. Seriously, you can be totally happy all the time. You can be filled with Shakti, filled with joy, but it doesn't mean you don't do anything. I said that God created the heavens and earth to express himself or herself, whatever you want. Then you're part of it. You're that expression. Nothing ever existed like you. You're special. You don't have to be special. You don't have to people think you're special. You're the most special thing that was ever created. Nothing was ever created like you or never will be. It was an expression of the divine that he made this. And you get to have the experiences and so on, and you learn to love them, appreciate them, and serve them. When you play a video game, if you're really into it, I'm not, but if you play one of these video games, right, you sit there and say, I don't care. Who do I care? It's just nothing real anyways. No, you get into it. You do the best you can. That's how God, that's all of creation. It's a challenge. It's fun. What if people play chess? What if you move the pieces around? Because it brings out something great in you. It allows you to express yourself. Every single thing is God creating all of creation and expressing itself. The joy of doing that. You're that emissary. You're the one, you're the only, I can't even talk. You're the only one experiencing the experience you're experiencing. Right now, the moment in front of you, as you see it right now, you're the only one experiencing it. No one ever did, ever will. Right now, what you're seeing, no one ever saw. Not the right, same angle, same light, everything, right? No one ever saw, and never will, and never did, and so on. That's who you are. You're God's emissary, God himself experiencing his creation. But you got lost. You got lost. You identified with these objects that you stored instead of experienced. Experience. Go on. There'll be another experience. There's another one. Don't worry. You'll always have experience. What do you do with the experience? Dig it, man. Have the experience. But what if it's sad? Dig it. What if someone you love dies? Feel the depth of the pain. Feel the depth of the loss. Become a greater being because you had the experience. Every experience you have makes you greater because you had the experience. So there are experiences that are painful. They make you greater. Does that mean you enjoy the pain? You appreciate and honor and respect the experience. You go through the experience with respect. Does it hurt? You don't make it not hurt. Hurt is part of it. The heart goes through different changes. You're a greater being because you win. Go on. Go marry somebody that's never had a relationship before in their entire life. What are you, crazy? They don't know anything. Anything happens, they can't handle anything. Now marry someone that's, I call that person the veteran of the foreign wars. Yes or no? How come you're laughing? Because it's true, all right? You go through experiences that they make you greater. The ones that don't make you greater are the ones you're not willing to go through. It's not the experience. It's, are you willing to go through it, honor it, respect it, feel it fully, and go through it? People ask me, does that mean you get into it and lost it? No, of course it doesn't mean that. It means you're open to experience it passing through you. How long does it take? None of your business. You're open and you're experiencing the experience. You experience the wedding, you experience the divorce. Well, why is there a divorce? You tell me, all right? Let's put it this way. That was quite a video game God made. Every person, every bit of his, if you want to play chess with yourself or checkers with yourself, it's no fun. You know what the other guy did? You better make it pretty complicated. So here's how God created the universe. One consciousness, omniscient and knows everything, radiates itself out, and the rays fall on a mind that's made up of the experiences that that mind had, and on a heart that made an experience that heart had. No one had the same experiences, ever. Therefore, everyone's totally different. And no one knows what the other one's doing because I got lost in myself. I'm only staring at myself. I only care about what I feel. You do it. You do it all the time. Sit there and say, yes, I know we're in a relationship, and yes, I know I made these pledges and vows and do different things, right? But I only have one life to live, and I'm just not happy with you anymore. I just don't feel turned on. I don't feel love. What am I supposed to do? Stay with someone I don't love? I'm sorry. So that's what divorce is. That's what the different things are. All right? Let me tell you something. If you're in ecstasy all the time, you don't have these problems. Buddha didn't have these problems. If you sit deep enough in the seat of consciousness who you are, there are no problems. There are just experiences, and they all come in and pass through, and you don't collect them. That's what empty mind is. It doesn't mean you don't think. Empty mind says you didn't use your mind as a storehouse for your garbage. Now it's clean. Now it can think clearly. Now it can create and express. Mind is a beautiful thing. Your heart's the same thing. Your heart is beautiful. Your heart's an instrument that can play all kinds of notes. It's a whole orchestra. It's beyond any orchestra. Can it play high notes? Can it play low notes? That's beautiful. Look at what it can do. But you can't handle it. You can't handle it. So you hold on to the low notes. That's what's hilarious. I've had bad experiences in my life. I'm telling you, my heart is hurt really bad. I'm going to do that again. Congratulations. It can play all kinds of notes, and you held on to the ones that were low. And now you're scared to death it'll happen again. And so now what happens is every one of you are running around to some of your learned experiences, completely lost in what you collected in your mind. That's who I am. And going out there manipulating the world to try and make it be what you want it to be. No one agrees with you because everybody's different. But look what a mess we've made. And that's just the video game. That's just the dance. And the video game has 7 levels. You get to the top level, the lights go off, all right? This one has some levels. You get to the highest one, you get back to God. You get back to where you came from, merged, one, whole. That's what's going on. We talked about the purpose and meaning of creation. It's bigger than you want to make it be. No, the purpose of creation is not getting married, having a family, get a bunch of toys and dying. It's just you wake up. You wake up and you realize you're a very great being. The greatest thing ever walked the face of the earth. But you think you're great because somebody claps. Because people think you're pretty or handsome or respect you. No, that's ridiculous. That's because you built this thing inside of yourself that's lost and hurt and down and needs things to be a certain way for you to feel okay, don't you? And then you go out there and try to get them that way and struggle and suffer. And all right, no, you step back and you learn how to not stare at yourself. Spirituality is all about letting go of yourself. Man minus mind equals God. It's Mayor Baba. If you're not staring at yourself, you realize who you are. Well, how do you do that? Start practicing handling what's happening in front of you. Start practicing that there's a moment unfolding in front of me, I can handle it. But what if I can't? Learn to. Play the piano. I don't know how to. Start with the scales. Learn to play. Play tennis. I don't know how. Pick up a racket. Hit the ball a few times. Notice it goes in the net. If you don't hold your wrist the right way, turn your wrist. Learn to handle the moment in front of you. That is the highest spiritual growth that exists. Why? If you can handle the moment in front of you, you don't have to store it inside as another samskara, another pattern that runs your life. Handle it. Handle the heat. Handle the rain. Handle what somebody said. Give them a break. They're having a bad day. They said something. Can it pass through and not even think about it again? Can something happen that makes you sad and you appreciate it? Let it touch you and then let go. Why? Because then there'll be another moment. If you get caught in the one that just happened, you'll miss the one that's happening next. Be here now. That's what it's all about. Can you handle the moments unfolding in front of you? And if the answer is no, practice doing it. Practice letting go of the part of you that can't handle reality. Why? What's reality? The moment in front of you. How do you know? Because it's there. What did Christ say? Let those who have eyes to see, let them see. Let those who have ears to hear, let them hear. In other words, hello, it's there. Can you handle it? I mean, really. Was he an example of handling the moment in front of you? Look what he handled. Look what he went through. And you're not asked to go through that. You're just asked to go through the moments in front of you. The nice ones, not nice ones, this, that. You just let them go. If you let them go, they don't build up inside of you. If you learn to let them go with the simple things in life, you'll find out you can handle it a little more difficult. You know, like somebody said something to you, had a bad day, you let it go, fine. Now you go home and visit your parents. You always had trouble with your parents. Your mother's being a certain way, your father's being a certain way. All of a sudden, it's not so caustic anymore because you learn to let go. You learn to not resist. If you don't resist, things don't hurt. Zen, right? And you start practicing non-resistance. Start practicing acceptance. Start practicing surrender. Okay, inside, you're letting go. What about outside? Serve. Do what the purpose of creation is. You're God's emissary. How do I say it to you? You are God's ambassador and emissary to the moment in front of you. Nobody else is experiencing that. Nobody ever will experience it. That is the meaning of your life. You are the divine consciousness experiencing divine creation. Can you be that? Of course not. I want it to be the way I want. Now, that's what we talked about today, didn't we? I told you, I'm never going to sit there and say, I know why God created creation. All right? I'll let the masters tell you that. But you listen to what I just told you. It is all God. We know that now. It's all one force that's expressing and creating itself. And in India, they call God's creation God's Leela. Ever heard that? Leela. Leela is interpreted in two different ways. God's dance, God's sport. Oh, I like that one. You made up football. How'd you do that? You drew a couple of lines on the field, and you decided if you get this oblong ball across one line, hey, hooray, hooray, hooray. You just made it up, didn't you? Why? Because it's fun. That's what a sport is. It's not meaningful. It's fun. It lets you express yourself. Well, this is God's will. What? All of it. Everything. Can you handle that? Of course not. But can you handle the weather? Start with the simple stuff first. Low-hanging fruit. Handle it. Bother. Make fun. Use positive thinking. Use mantra. Use anything you want. Just handle the moment that's unfolding in front of you. Then do the best you can to serve it. Not serve it. You know why you're serving the moment in front of you? Because you can't handle it. You're trying to make it be what you can handle. Do you understand that, right? That's what you're doing. Trying to get the job the way you want, to get the person the way you want, get the clothes look the way you want, get everything the way you want, because you can't handle it. That's why you're doing it. When you can handle it, you're not doing it for yourself. That's a true selfless act. Why? I have no reason. I'm fine. I'm fine. Now what? Raise it. Bring it love. Bring it light. Bring joy to the moment in front of you. How? Smile. Don't say something mean. Just whatever the heck you can do. Just raise it a little bit instead of trying to make it be what you want it to be. That's the spiritual path. All right. Thank you for listening. Proud of you. You made it through. Jagradev.
You've been listening to the Michael Singer Podcast, Produced by Sounds True in partnership with Shanti Publications. For more information on Michael's body of work and all back episodes, please join us at michaelsingerpodcast.com. Thanks so much for listening. Sounds True, waking up the world.